Here's our panel. Here is my LED. So let's zoom in and you can see how bad the paint is on both sides. And I want to show you what can be accomplished with a single, what's called a real one-step compound. And by one step, that means you can actually do some true or permanent paint correction, because you have the paint correction that is temporary, because the product that you're using, the compound or polish, is engineered with plenty of fillers. So it's kind of like the Band-Aid approach. Yes, it will look good for the first week or until the first washing, but then if it's washed, really just washed, period, never mind with the harsh chemicals or detergents, then all that work is gone. So the compound is Scholl Concepts. It is what they call their real one-step compound, S20 Black. I've been using it for a couple of years now in my own professional world, and I am a huge fan. So this is also a Scholl Concepts, what's called a spider pad. It's got all these intricate cuts through it, and it's part of their system. A lot of companies try to do what's called a system approach. Certain compounds or polishes are designed specifically to be used with certain types of pads and certain types of machines. Now there's always plenty of wiggle room. I don't care what the manufacturer says. So this pad is actually designed for multiple polishes. This happens to be one of them. In your world as a beginner, it is what you would consider a firm pad. It's not as aggressive as they come, but it's also not a ultra soft finishing pad. It's that kind of just right moment. So we're going to see what kind of results I can produce, and I'm using one of my favorite buffers from Griot's Garage, their Boss G21. 21 stands for 21 millimeters of throw. That's how far out this thing will oscillate as it's moving versus the 15 millimeter throw. I prefer the bigger ones as a rule. If you have to default to a single buffer only, I would default to a bigger one, because as a rule, most panels on a car are pretty wide open and flat. So I want to get as much coverage as possible rather than using a 15-inch throw. That's just my take on it. I'm going to set this speed to a level 5, and I'm going to use what would be considered in the industry as moderate to heavy pressure. If I had to guess, that'd be about 6 pounds of pressure, but that's really a very hard number to actually verify. One thing I love about this buffer in particular is the fact that the components of it don't feel like they're actually going to fall off while you're polishing a car. Everything is fully intact. It's a truly quality piece of equipment. So AutoFiber, I decided to try them because they are more of a direct source, as in there's less middleman in between the manufacturing process and the delivery process, as in the end user. So this is their Elite 2-pile microfiber detailing towel. It's what's considered a 360 GSM, which stands for grams per square meter. Has nothing to do with quality or how many fibers or anything. It's literally based on weight. So if you take a square meter of this stuff, it's going to weigh 360 grams. And it could be crap or it could be precision. It doesn't matter. That's all that means. It's more about what it's actually made out of and where they're sourcing their materials from as to the more critical factors based on quality. But nonetheless, I'm trying it out. So this is a 2-ply. It's got a plush one side and a finer other side. Now when it comes to removing polishes, I prefer the tighter, finer side. So let's remove this polish. And let's do the big reveal. We'll pull this off. So, obvious line of demarcation. We have before and we have after. I would say that that was pretty impressive. Let's try from this angle. Before, after, Let's get right there. See that? Now, is that side perfect? Not even close. But look how much better it is than that side. That side, if I was driving this car, I would want to tint my windows black so that no one could see me driving this horrid black car. This side now, I could actually be seen in public, but that's just me. And when I pull back from normal viewing distances, actually both sides are gonna look good from here. But the point is Johnny Customer is really gonna wet himself. But I'm gonna take it a step further than that. This is what is called a 50-50 wipe. What that means is 50% is rubbing alcohol, 50% is distilled water. Why distilled water? Well, first off, it's not that critical. You can use tap water. Distilled water is the purest water that you will be able to create or find. And it will not water spot up because there's no minerals or anything in it. The point of this being is that alcohol will remove and dissolve any silicones, waxes, greasy type things like fillers. So if this was actually just filled in versus permanently corrected, when I shoot this stuff on it and rub it off, it's gonna reveal it. So that's what I wanna do, is see, and I'm using plenty of my solution because I really wanna see the kind of results that we're able to produce. So let's pull in, and you were probably thinking, okay, where's that line of demarcation? Since we're not in direct sunlight, let's see if we can find it. Yep, there it is. See that? There is our line. Before, after. Before, after. So is this perfect? Not even close, as I said, not even close. But look at how dramatic the results are by just using that single step, a very quick pass, a couple passes in fact. So which one would you take? Would you prefer that? Or would you prefer this? I know what my answer is. So a couple things. First off, thumbs up to Shoal Concepts for what I consider a true one-step compound, because it clearly produced permanent paint correction results. Based on your level of expectations, I can just spend more and more time polishing this area and still use the single compound. That was very quick. I did not spend a whole lot of time on that. And that's the point, is that you can finesse just by doing that based on the moment and the budget and the customer and the expectations of the moment and the results that you are being required as a professional to produce. I just know that if I'm gonna have a single type of polish or compound, this would in fact be a very excellent choice. Because this is a very tight budget, customers, being Johnny Cheap Ass, which they're out there, despite this being a very expensive, high performance luxury sedan, doesn't matter. It's kind of a mind F. They're not automatic. Point is now I'm just gonna finish this car, but you can see the results. But I guess the main point in this moment is that you can finesse the results. You spend more time, more pressure, more speed, whatever it takes, but that's where experience comes in, is that as you play around with it, you can figure out, based on also your canvas, how hard or soft is this clear coat, because every car will in fact be different. Yes, there's generalizations or rules to it, as in which types of manufacturers have what's considered hard clear coat versus soft, but ultimately it can be a case by case. So there is many variables to consider, but you remain in a large way in control based on the elements, speed, pressure, that type of stuff.
There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave